Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. How are we doing today, Derek?
Doing great. Just got off work and ready to go.
All right. Well, Jacob looks like he won't be with us this week. So, Derek and I are going to go through kind of what happened last week and react to it and make some predictions for week 4.
Oh, God, that week was ups and downs.
Yeah. So, let's first talk about the top 10 and let's see if we can spot any top 10 frauds and just an overall discussion about how everybody looks that's ranked in the top 10 and what we expect from them. So let's start at number 10. Let's go Penn State.
Penn State, 34-27 is Bowling Green. Oh my,
Bowling
Bowling
Green.
Green State. Yeah, Bowling Green Falcons. Oh wow. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe it. That's not 8 seed team. But you
10.
never know.
They're
It's
10
not
right
even a
now.
top.
They dropped 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. They did drop. But that's not
Yeah.
our top ranked team, 10 team,
No, you're good.
anyways. But yeah,
Um
but no, 34-27 is pretty bad. But then again, we thought Notre Dame was bad. We thought Oregon was bad.
yeah,
Guess
we're
what?
getting yeah.
This-
Notre Dame
Some teams have bad days.
Notre Dame made us have second thoughts. I still don't have them as a top 10 team, but they re-piqued my interest as okay, you're top 25-ish around there. I don't think they're a top 15 team, but let's see where they're at. Notre Dame is 17. I think that's fair after what they did last
Yeah,
week.
yeah. 17 is in the right spot, but actually, they'll continue climbing. People to continue following. It will happen. Just they can't lose another one. If they lose another one,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into a little bit more of Notre Dame stuff after this, but let's kind of go game or team by team. So you're saying that Penn State to you think they're a top 10 fraud. Is that right?
Um, Yeah, that was really bad. I
Who would
mean, they
you
have
replace them with?
who would I replace them with? I would say
Yeah.
USC maybe. I
Okay.
would put USC
USC's
up
at
there.
11.
Yep, definitely believe it. I actually think Oklahoma's even better.
All right. Well, we'll see what
It's a
happens.
facts are fact, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not very high on Penn State. I think that they're always overrated. They can never win their big games in their conference, and everybody else is not very good. So it doesn't say much winning
Hmm.
those games.
Yeah,
um,
well, Drew Allard threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another. So,
yeah,
um,
against Bowling Green.
hmm
Yeah.
that's how you say his name, Drew Allard, right?
Hmm. Sounds
Yeah,
right. Um,
but
let's go
mhm.
to Oregon now. What do we think?
Oregon. Oregon. That was yeah, I think what did I say about Oregon? I said Oregon State was going to beat them by 3. Well, I hate to say this, but I was wrong on that one.
Yeah,
You know, uh
they
basically
looked good.
Oregon looked great. Oregon was awesome.
Yeah,
They are not a fraud anymore. They were just a late bloomer.
yeah,
There are some people, some teams that are late bloomers, and they surely were. Now let's hope
yeah.
they continue that on with UCLA. That's
So
what, in 2 weeks or
yeah,
1 week from now.
yeah, and then they
Hmm.
host Ohio State at some point this season. Let me double check which
Hmm.
week that is.
November
They
12th,
Yep, there it is. Or October.
October
It's
12th.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Too bad they're going to beat Ohio State. I mean, I'm sorry, Jacob, you're not here to defend yourself, but Ohio State has no chance. I'm saying this
yeah.
right now. Ohio State has no chance. Jacob, I hate to tell you this, but you're losing your first game to Ohio State. Mark that calendar, October 12th. If you want to prove me wrong, get on this show and let me hear it. But oh, you're not here to defend yourself. So boom, mic drop.
Yep. Uh, well, I'll defend him. Ohio State's not losing that game.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, uh, let's go on to the next one and let's try to get some of these kind of quick. Let's start with Miami at number 8.
Yeah, Miami, the University of Miami. I still don't think they're a top 10 team.
I feel the same way.
Uh, but they really don't play by until Louisville. And
I know.
Louisville, I don't even think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they got what? After Louisville, they got FSU. It sucks. After the, FSU's going to fire their coach this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. But they got Duke.
Yeah.
Duke has the Texas QB that transferred over to
Hmm.
Duke. So that should be an interesting game, but he's not doing so well at Duke either. I mean, they're winning. They're undefeated, but they're not winning impressively. So those are the games that you look forward to when you're Miami. But yeah, it's they'll make the playoffs. We'll find out when they make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what sucks about this is seeing that schedule. They only play one ranked opponent, and that's Louisville. And like you were saying, you don't even think Louisville's that good. Um, Gosh, there are some teams that would kill for this schedule that are going to be possibly not even ranked and could still go undefeated or be a contender in the schedule for like a one-loss season. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, I would definitely put them on the fraud list. Um, because their best win is against Florida right now, and well,
Mm-hmm.
so is everybody else's who's played Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
let's go to Missouri. They dropped
Eh,
after not shutting out their opponent, as
yeah,
Derek
I
was
told
saying
you.
last week.
I told you, hey, you know what? Boston College is actually proving that they might
Hmm.
actually be better than we thought.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Missouri could show them out.
Hmm.
Missouri can be scored on. And
Hmm.
no, I'm not going to Vegas to make $100 bet for them to win it all.
Mm-mm.
But let me put it this way: if they go to Alabama and beat Alabama and beat Oklahoma and beat South Carolina, who I didn't think that was great, but apparently South Carolina has something there.
Yeah,
Uh, they're going to make the playoffs.
yeah.
Yep,
Uh,
and I think they'll do well.
that's the difference between a Missouri and a Miami. Is Missouri can prove itself, where
Hmm.
Miami just keeps beating mid teams, where Missouri has to prove itself. They have to beat, like you said, they have to play Alabama. They have to beat A&M at Kyle Field. They've got to beat Auburn, South
Hmm.
Carolina. Uh, let's see, and then they host Arkansas at the end of the year. So all of those games are, well, maybe not all of them, but most of those games are better than any of the games that Miami plays.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Well, here's
I
the
could
thing.
see all these teams beating Louisville. Like I just don't think that Miami has a tough schedule, and the
Yeah.
Missouri
Well, the
one is
thing is, what's going to keep Miami in the top 10 is that they win, and they're going to have to score convincingly. Like we go back to Miami when they play South Florida, they're actually a 16.5 point favorite, and they're going to have to win more than 16.5. I say maybe 24 more points. Yeah, it will have to be sufficient to be kind of convince me, and they're just going to have
yeah.
to be ahead of the spread like by a touchdown or more to prove that they're better than what I think they are.
Hmm.
You know, that's the only way they're going to be relevant. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure how these teams are on defense, so I can't say how well Miami will match up to a team like Georgia's defense or Texas' defense.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of Georgia and Texas and the rest of the SEC, um, out of the next seven or out of the top 7 ranked teams in the country, um, 6 of them are SEC,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
SEC has a lot.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they all play each other, pretty much. Alabama, Ole Miss, they play each other. Alabama, Tennessee, or does Tennessee play Alabama? I want to double check on that. Okay, Tennessee does not play Alabama, so scratch that. But Tennessee plays Missouri. I'm pretty sure. Wow, did I just get that wrong too? They don't play Missouri. Usually they do. Okay, so Tennessee plays out of the top 10. They're going to play Georgia and they're going to play Alabama. So
Hmm.
those three will be, interacting with one another. Texas and Georgia will play. Texas escaped by not having to play anybody else in this range. They only have to play one of them.
It's not our fault. The FCC was trying to keep them from playing people. I
Yeah,
understand.
no.
That's why they put Texas going, Texas A&M, because behind the scenes, Texas A&M was saying, no, we don't want Texas and SEC. But if they're going to come to SEC, they have to come to a College Station to play. Same thing with
Yeah.
basketball. I think their first game of basketball is in College Station. Now I could be wrong, but I think that yeah, no, baseball. That's what it was. Texas has to go to Texas A&M for baseball. They're not coming to Texas. So that's another reason. I think it was all motivated with Texas A&M approval. I also think Arkansas they had to go over to Arkansas. What rivalry is coming to Texas? I mean, none.
Should we look at the Texas schedule real quick and see who got bailed out? Let's compare Arkansas's schedule to Texas and Texas A&M's schedule to Texas. So
Hmm.
Texas lucked out by playing a terrible Michigan team on the road right
Well,
after
at the
they lost
time, yes,
everybody in their coaching staff. They lost all their players. Okay, they play OU
it's
every
not that.
year. Okay, um, you play Georgia. Okay, that's a good game right there. Let's see. All these other SEC teams finished in the bottom half of the SEC.
Hmm.
Now let's look at OU schedule.
I mean, Arkansas is
Tennessee,
2-1. They can go strong too.
Tennessee, OU plays Tennessee, number 6 Tennessee, that's a top 10 team. Number 1 Texas, so that's 2 top 10 teams. Number 5 Ole Miss, that's 3 top 10 teams. Number 7 Missouri, that's 4 top 10 teams. But we're not done. They play Alabama too. So that's
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 10 teams on OU's schedule. Let's go back to Texas's schedule. Okay. Oh, Georgia. There we go. You have one. You have one
You
top
know
10
what?
team on
And
your
you know what? We're
schedule.
not in we're not in the SEC. We're coming
Uh,
into the SEC.
well,
So
let's
you
look at
gotta understand.
A&M's. Let's look at A&M's. Let's see if they play. So they play Texas. That's one top 10 team. They play Missouri. That's 2 top 10 teams. Um,
Who I think they're gonna beat.
Notre Dame, we're not going to count it as a top 10 team, even though they were top 10 whenever it happened. But that could be a team that maybe finishes in the top 10. So they play, A&M plays 2 top 10 teams.
Hmm.
It's
But
not
AM,
way
that's their
better.
only loss. See,
So let's
AM.
look at.
Let me here's the AM is 2-1, so they're doing pretty good. Arkansas is 2-1. I think Arkansas is better than a lot of people think. I really think
Yeah.
Arkansas can actually do a lot more. Actually
Hey,
lose.
easy, buddy. I'm about to roast you a little bit more here. Arkansas
Mhm.
plays number 6 Tennessee, so that's one top 10 team. They play
Who
number
I think they're
5 Ole
gonna.
Miss. That's 2 top 10
Mhm.
teams. They play Texas. That's 3 top 10 teams. Oh, and guess what? We play Missouri. That's 4 top 10 teams. So
Mhm.
that's the thing here
Well,
is Texas has two big games that make them eligible to be top 5 status in my opinion. And that is Georgia and OU. If they lose to both Georgia and OU, they are top 5 frauds. because everybody else on this schedule will be outside of the top 10. And if they lose both of their teams, especially OU, because OU is not a top 10 team. So even if you beat OU, it's kind of like, where's OU going to finish on here after we just looked at their 5 top 10 team schedule that they have to play? So that's the thing is Texas really, they've got to win that Georgia game if they really want to prove that they're number one and even in the top 5. And then they got to take care of OU, which they've had trouble doing. And then also you got to get through A&M at the end of the season. And as of right now, A&M has just got back into the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
So
We got you. You gotta understand with Texas, they just came and played a 2-game series with Alabama, so they definitely weren't going to put them in there. Um, you also gotta understand that there's a lot of these teams like Florida's never played at Texas, and Texas never played Florida. They wanted that matchup. They didn't expect that Florida was going to be bad. They didn't see that coming. I mean, I guess they did when they
that
made the
guy's been
schedule,
on the
but
hot seat the last 2 years. What do you mean they didn't expect
yeah,
him to be bad?
well, you know what? You're correct. They were bad, but you gotta understand they're trying to think of a matchups that people have never seen, and they think that'd be good TV ratings for that.
Right.
But
So if Texas is
really,
number one in the country, they should have no problem beating all these teams outside of Georgia. I'll just give them the Georgia game as if you take an L against Georgia, I'm not gonna, beat you two up for it. But if they lose any of these other games, top 5 frauds.
they're not losing. They're not losing to Mississippi State. They're not losing
They
to
could lose
UL
to
Monroe.
OU.
They're not losing to OU.
They go to
That's
Vanderbilt.
okay. What happened when Alabama beat Texas? Rivers got knocked out, right? He wanted revenge. He was pissed. Guess what? They beat Alabama. Now look at this. Ewers is out, so now we got Arch Manning. He's going to play UL Monroe. He's going to play Mississippi State, and then Ewers is going to come back and he's going to play Oklahoma. And
Hmm.
technically, if we needed to, I would see Ewers coming back against Mississippi State, but he doesn't have to because Texas has a great quarterback of Arch Manning. They actually Arch Manning was a plus 10,000 favorite in the Heisman. Guess he's now a plus 1,600 favorite in Vegas odds for the
Wow.
Heisman. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I
big jump.
I think that it's pretty incredible that they had the audacity to put Texas ahead of Georgia when Georgia hasn't lost a regular season game in 2 or 3 seasons.
Well, here's the thing, Georgia.
And
Georgia
and
did
they've
really
only
bad
lost to
against
one
Kentucky.
excuse me. And they've only lost to one team Georgia has. One team. Can you name
But
that team?
that's Alabama, who Texas
Yeah.
beat last year. Yeah, that's why. That could be
Mhm.
Alabama last year. It's the same team that beat Georgia last year. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. But
It was
here's
week
my
2.
point. But,
What did
week three,
Alabama
who
do in week
cares?
3? What did Alabama do in week 3?
It don't matter. You want to be a champion team. You come to play. It doesn't matter if it's week 1, 2, or 3. When you play a good
How did
team like
Alabama look
Alabama,
in
you're
week
going to come
3?
out and play.
How did they look in
But
week 3?
yeah, but here's the thing. At that time, they were thinking about trading out Jalen Milroy for their other quarterback because he did horrible. And it, yes, they improved, they did better, but I so did Texas. Texas got better as the season went on.
Right. So what do
Um,
they need
it-
to do to solidify to you that they are a top 5? Let's go over this scenario. If they lose to Georgia and they lose to OU, should they be in the top 5?
no,
Oh, okay.
they
Then we
shouldn't
agree
be
then. Yeah, we agree. Okay.
right. Yeah, but the thing is Texas will beat OU. Um, Ewers wants revenge. I'm not sure if Ewers was in that game against OU. Was he?
For
Was
OU?
Ewers that Texas? The last year's
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah.
Let me look at
Yeah, he was. He
you.
was in that game.
Okay, he was. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's more motivation for Ewers to come in and do well in that game. You know, he doesn't want the same thing happen. And the thing is, Texas is getting better at recruiting, and it's helping because look, their whole
Yeah.
receiving core has been revamped. I mean, and now they got five really good receivers
Yeah.
that could start for any team, and they can't even play them all at once.
Yeah.
Unless five spread, but that's not gonna happen.
That's a lot of
They want to be
teams.
balanced.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
a lot of teams that they're not able to play all their guys. But let's, because we're not a Texas show, so let's kind of cut to the chase. I have one more scenario for you. I want your take on this. If Texas loses to Georgia, Oklahoma, and then falls to A&M at the end of the season, do they get into the college football playoff?
nope,
All right. Let's leave
nope.
it at that.
They beat Michigan. That's the only
I'm
thing.
just kidding.
No.
They're what?
If Michigan goes on, even if Michigan goes on and beats every team in their
Yeah.
schedule, wins the Big Ten, I still don't see them make it. If they do, they barely make it.
So
But I
Texas can
still,
only get in with 2 losses max.
yeah, I don't think there's a team getting in with three losses. I'm sorry. I don't know what these experts are saying.
What about
I
like
think
OU? Because they play 5
OU,
top 10 teams. They play 5 top 10 teams.
I,
Let's look at OU real quick. Let's make this an OU show real quick. Just for hypothetical, I have a hard time seeing this actually happen, but let's just do it real quick. Is OU in this coming week, by the way. So we can do our prediction here too. But first let's do the hypothetical. OU hosts number 6 Tennessee this weekend. And then 2 weeks after that, they play Texas. And then they play Ole Miss 2 weeks after that. And then they play Missouri 2 weeks of that, followed by Alabama after that, and they finish with LSU.
all right. Let me put it this way.
I
They
mean,
they lose the teams they lose to would have to be Ole Miss.
yeah,
They would have to lose to Tennessee, and they would have
yeah.
to lose to who was the other one? Not
Texas
not
or
LSU,
Alabama? Texas,
Alabama. They have
Alabama,
to lose Tennessee, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Those are the games they have to lose, and they beat LSU and they beat Missouri.
and
Guess what?
Texas,
They don't make it.
and Texas. They would have beaten
Oh yeah, and,
Texas.
and and they beat Texas. I still don't see them going in
So they
because
would
let's say
beat Texas, which is one top 10 team. They would beat Missouri, which is another top 10 team. And then LSU, which is a top 16 right now. They're probably floating around 15 at the end of the year. If they were to
way
do
they
that,
play.
hmm,
No, the way they played against Missouri,
yeah,
not Missouri, but South Carolina, I'm
I don't know.
disappointed.
I just kind of feel like they're still going to be ranked around 15 at some point, like at the end of the year. I, they're gonna find ways to win weird games because like look they're the end of their season. Their last 4 game. Well, actually, maybe they're not. Um,
Just don't
well,
see a three-loss team making the
so they
playoffs.
go
I
to
know
A and
people are saying
M. They go
you
to
want
A and
them.
M, and they beat if they can beat Alabama and win out until they play Oklahoma at the end of the year, they will be ranked in the top 15.
Now, if they win there, you have to have like the best scenario to be a three-loss team in the
Well,
playoffs, and
OU
that,
is
and that
like the perfect example of if you could get a 3-loss team in, it would be this one.
no, it would be Georgia. If Georgia lost three, they would still get in because everybody's on their freaking motorboat. Okay, no, I
Okay,
don't
that's a
think a
good point.
three-loss team deserves.
So
I don't think a three-loss team deserves to get in.
you don't think
Not
that?
when you got Notre Dame coming down. Notre Dame has one loss, and you're going to
Yeah,
tell me
but
Notre Dame doesn't get in, but three-loss Missouri, Oklahoma team does?
yeah,
No,
a 2-loss Notre Dame team can get jumped by a 3-loss OU team.
probably.
So if Notre Dame were to lose another game, dude, this OU schedule is wild. And again, I don't think this is going to happen, so I don't think it's not going to be super worth talking about it. But just for hypothetical purposes of putting a 3-loss team in there, like if they lost to Tennessee, Alabama, and Ole Miss, that would mean
Mhm.
they would beat Missouri, Texas, and LSU.
Yes,
Ah,
that
man,
is
dude,
true.
how do you not put that team in the top 12?
It does well. They're not. They could be in the top 12. They could be number 12, but they're not making in because the G5 gets in.
Well, a undefeated G5 will already be in the top 12.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're in the top 12 or not. They could be number 20. They're still getting in.
I don't think that they would be number 20. I think they would be in the top 12 if they're undefeated by the end of the season. If they're 11 and 0, 10 and 0 or whatever, I think that
They're
they'd
not.
already be in the top 12.
But even if that, let's say they're a one-loss team, they're going to be in the top 20. They could
Yeah,
be
yeah, I know what you mean.
because
All right.
that is by rule.
Okay, so you're saying that you pretty much see no way that a 3-loss team can get in. Um
Yeah, if you would look up last year's top 12 and show me a three-loss team that you think goes in, let me know.
I do not. Okay, let me see if I can final rankings college football 2023.
Hmm.
Okay, so Arizona was 10 and 3. LSU was number 12 at 10 and 3. So Arizona
They're
and
not in.
LSU both so 11 and 12 had 3 losses.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think Arizona had Pac-12. They weren't the most great
You
conference, and
you
I
told me
still
to find some teams in the top 12 that had 3 losses. Here they
I
are.
don't think the committee would not allow it. The committee would say no. This is the AP poll. This is not the.
You think they wouldn't put an OU in there?
I
Oklahoma?
don't think the last year's thing. I don't think they put Arizona State. I mean Arizona in there from last year. I really don't. I think they'd
Hmm.
rather put a G5 undefeated team in there over Arizona team.
So let's say that 4 SEC teams get in. A Big 12 team gets in, that's 5. Um let's see here. So that's 5. And then a is the Pac-12 part of that? Like if you win the Pac-12, do you get in?
Um, no, Pac-12 has two teams. They're not getting in.
I know, but it's
But
is it some weird thing where they are allowed to? Their champion gets
no,
in automatically?
it doesn't. It's not select conferences. It's the best. It's the best four conference champions,
Yeah.
and whoever's ranked the highest out of the four conference champions will
Yeah.
get in.
Okay.
So technically, a Sun Belt team. Let's say a Sun Belt team and then a
Well,
MAC
ACC. It's
team.
going to be the ACC. So it's going to be a Miami. So let's put
Yeah.
them in there. So that's 6 teams with 4 SECs. Um, so that means one conference championship from the SEC. The second conference would be, let's do the Big Ten. Let's do Ohio State. So that's 3.
Michigan.
And then Michigan's not getting in. Um, and then the
Yes,
fourth
they
would
are.
be who we just talked about. Who was the fourth? Miami.
Big 12, Miami. Big 12 will also be in
That's 5.
SEC, Big 10.
SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. Wait.
That's it. I know
Okay.
who you were counting.
Wait a second. Did I mess that up?
Yes, you did.
God, this is confusing. Okay, so SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, that's 4.
Mm. Yes.
So, who's the fifth?
The fifth would be a G5.
So,
The
it's not
G5
5
champions.
plus a G5?
No, it's four plus a G5.
4 plus a G5. Okay. So, that's 5 teams and then plus 3 from the SEC. So, 5 plus 3, that's 8. So, 4
Hmm.
SEC teams are in. One
Yep.
Big Ten team, and then one of everybody else too. That leaves 4 open spots. I don't think another
Mhm.
SEC team gets in. I think the max number of SEC teams is 4. I guess you could slip in. Let's just say we slip in 5. So we're at 9. So that's 3 more spots. So like a Notre Dame could go in there. So that would be 10. And then see, there has to be a couple 3-loss teams.
Well, there's definitely going to be at least 2 teams, Big Ten, 2 teams from the SEC, 2 teams from the ACC.
The
I really
ACC is
think
not getting in 2 teams.
they have a chance. Louisville wins out and only loses
Let's look at the
Miami.
rankings right now. The ACC only has one in the top 10,
They
2
win out.
in they have 1 in the top 20, which is Louisville. If I mean, I guess Louisville could keep scraping its way in and have 1 loss in that. I guess a 1
They,
loss ACC team could get in. So
if
I
they
guess you're right. Two
barely
two
lose to
ACCs.
Miami,
Yeah, if you could have if I think a 2-loss ACC team will not get in. I think a
oh
1
hell
loss
no.
could.
Yeah,
Okay, so then you
but
would
then
have 2 ACC teams.
they would have to play in the ACC championship too.
Right.
So and Miami wins to get the first
Now again,
matchup,
this is
and Louisville
5
comes.
SEC teams. So, man, that's going to be rough. So there's 6 SEC teams in the top 10 right now. Um
Mhm.
so I guess getting 5 in is pretty likely. The thing is
Now you're just throwing things out your ass. It's not happening.
yeah.
It's like saying Arkansas is going
I
to win
mean,
out.
do you think that you could get 6 in there? 6 SEC teams? Do you think they could get in there?
Now I'm just going to walk away because this is starting to be ridiculous here.
How
You know,
many
Texas
Big
State
Ten
will
teams
get
are we getting?
Texas Texas State will get into the playoffs before 6 teams in the SEC will ever get in the playoffs.
Wouldn't that be insane? Okay, that would be
It,
SEC bias. That would be SEC bias
yeah,
100%. Um, how many Big Ten teams are we getting in there?
Big Ten teams. I really think Michigan gets in. I really think Ohio State gets in. I think Oregon gets in. Yeah,
You think
that's about
Michigan's
it.
getting in?
Yep, 100%.
Let's look at their schedule. Okay. So Michigan took an L to Texas. They barely beat Arkansas State at home. Did you hear
Hmm.
me? Um, in case nobody heard, they
No,
barely beat Arkansas State at home, 28-18.
Oregon barely won their games.
So
Notre Dame
Michigan
barely beat.
barely beat Arkansas State. Oh, did I say that already? Sorry. Um, they host USC this weekend. By the
Win.
way, let's do some picks for this. Let's get into the picks. Let's get into the picks. We've talked enough playoff. I guess it's time to just get into the picks for this weekend. Does that sound good to you, or do you want to keep going on the playoffs?
Let's get the picks.
All right, let's get the picks. All right, let's just start here with Michigan since we're right here already. SC, sorry, Michigan
Mm-mm.
hosts SC.
Yes. Loss. USC loses, and USC loses by 7. Don't even know what the spread is.
I could not
So
disagree with you more on this. I think SC is a huge mismatch nightmare for Michigan. I think their offense is going to run all over that Michigan defense, and the USC defense is just good enough to stop a terrible Michigan offense.
you're making them sound like their defense is as good as Texas defense. Texas defense made sure Michigan couldn't do
Michigan
nothing.
hasn't done anything to anybody. They put 28 on Arkansas State.
They still put 28.
Arkansas State's
Defense.
defense made sure that Michigan couldn't get to 30.
All right.
Like,
When did they stop
you think
scoring?
USC's defense can't?
Well, okay, look, click it, and see if you find out when they stop scoring. All right, and let me know then. All right. So when did they score the most points? Michigan. What quarter?
They scored 14 in the second quarter,
What did they
and they
score in the
only scored
first?
7 in the second half.
7. Okay, they were okay. What was their score in the first quarter? 20.
7
It
to
was
0.
21. Yeah, 7-0. So it was like 21-7, and then they probably scored 7 points in the
It
third
was
or
20
fourth.
it was 21 to 3 at halftime.
21-3. Okay, so they're pretty much like, yeah, we got this. Why score more?
What?
My
When do
point
you
is,
ever stop playing a game at 21 to 3?
I know
Did you wasn't it the
Michigan.
Falcons that did that? Was
Yeah,
it was that the score? 21 to 3 or
but
28 to 3, something like that?
Michigan
What?
thought they weren't worth it. Michigan probably thought they weren't worth it. They were probably
Dude,
playing their
Michigan is overrated. Get off your Texas high horse here. Michigan is not very good. USC is going to smoke those boys.
my point is, if it was any other team, they would probably play 100% through the whole game. That game would have been a lot higher if Arkansas State was going to get past that defense. And the only reason they didn't get past that defense was I think Arkansas State started scoring towards the end is because Michigan had their second string out there. Now, if that was Texas' second string, then that'd be their story because it was still
Yeah.
stopping.
Okay, so you're saying that Michigan's going to win this game by 7. The spread is 6 USC. I think USC is going to destroy that spread. I think they're going to win by 3, maybe even more scores. Like I could see this being a blowout and Michigan is going to be sitting up with pitchforks about their head coach saying maybe we need to look for another guy.
After 1 year, nah,
Yeah.
no,
He's interim.
yeah, no, I don't see it. I really believe that they win by 7.
Okay.
USC didn't look strong against LSU.
Yeah. Well, you could be right. You're probably not, but you could be right. I'm just messing with you.
I'm always right, even
But
when I'm wrong. No,
hey, I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
yeah.
Um, okay, so let's go back real quick to that Tennessee Oklahoma game, and let's do predictions for that. It's at Norman. Tennessee is favored by 7. What you got, Derek?
Well, if Tennessee is favored by 7 and it's in Norman, that's a different story. Tennessee is good. I'll give them that. But I'm really, really hoping Oklahoma pulls this one out. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to go bold prediction. I think we also have one bold prediction, and I say OU wins by a field goal.
Okay.
That's my bold prediction.
Okay, so you're saying that OU is going to win by a field goal?
Yep, I think it's going to be a tight game going back and forth. And I think it's going to be whoever has the ball last, and I think OU will have the ball last, and they'll be tied. And I think, or by 1, it could be by 2,
Yeah.
but they kick a to win it.
When you first look at this game, I'm thinking, oh, Tennessee is going to smoke them. But the more I think about it, I see trap game. And I'm thinking the same thing as you of, man, OU may come out swinging. They're at home. This is their very first SEC matchup. They're going to come out and be better than people think. They've probably been preparing for this for a little while now, and maybe that's why they've looked kind of sloppy in some of these games. But I can't do
Mm,
it. I have to take Tennessee. I
yeah.
from what I've seen from Tennessee, they're scary looking, and this is going to be what is OU made out of. And personally, I just don't think they're made of that much. Uh, I thought they've been struggling in the Big 12 the last couple years, which does not make me think that they're going to succeed in the SEC, especially whenever we just looked at their schedule and how 5 top 10 teams as of right now. So I'm gonna take Tennessee. I think that this I think the spread's about accurate. I think Tennessee wins by 7 or 10, something around there. Just I think OU isn't going to get blown out like some people are probably thinking. Because again, they've been seeing Tennessee's offense be crazy. I think that some people think OU's going to get this big wake up call. I don't think it's a big wake up call, but I don't think OU wins.
You
So,
know, you could be right. I mean, like I
mm.
said, that was a bold prediction.
Yeah, no, I could see it. Like I said, I was kind of juggling with that because it's like, man, it has the feeling of a trap game. Um,
I can't wait till I prove you wrong.
so this Friday we got Illinois going to Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska. Oh, you know what? Nebraska looks pretty good.
Yeah, they're
I
favored
think
by
they
seven
could
and a half.
win.
By the way, 7.5. By the
Yeah,
way.
they played at Colorado. They made the Sanders look stupid. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
All
They
all
whooped them.
talk, no bite.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
so I see Nebraska win. You know what? Nebraska, they keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised, but not sure it's going to happen. They could be a contender if
Ooh, I was
they
just
as
thinking
you
that. I
said.
was like, speaking of contenders in the Big Ten,
Yeah.
we kind of forgot about Nebraska, but it kind of depends on this game. I'm gonna agree with you on this. I'm taking Nebraska as well. I, uh, my old roommate from Arkansas was telling me that he's a big Chiefs fan, and so he was like, "Hey, the Nebraska quarterback, he's been doing the Mahomes stuff," and
Hmm.
that's whenever they played Colorado, and you know, they took care of business. I'm gonna take Nebraska. Also, Illinois cannot close close games. So
Here's a If you're comparing him to Mahomes, let me put it this way: Mahomes was not that great in college. He got on a team and he just started coming out of nowhere. So,
yeah. Well, that I'm taking Nebraska. Um, I think that they're gonna win this, and I'm rooting for them too. It's been a little while since Nebraska's been good, and they've had a lot of heartache the last
mm,
ever since I've been alive. They've had a lot of heartache. So
hmm
yeah.
this is gonna be a good game
Uh,
too.
there
Ole Miss,
is.
the Ole Miss game. We
uh,
gotta talk about the
we're
Ole
not
Miss
talking
game.
about that.
Yes, let's see how bad Ole Miss is going to be Georgia Southern. How
it's 35.
bad
Do you think they beat the spread?
they've been beating the spreads the whole time.
I
Okay,
know Georgia Southern is a little different though.
what's the spread?
35.
They win by
I mean,
45.
Georgia Southern they let Boise put 56 on them.
I say they beat them by 45 points. Ole Miss is just like an offensive juggernaut right now,
They are,
but
yeah.
and they're not playing by. So, but when they start playing teams, that number's going to go down. But that team better be able to score too, because Ole Miss is going to score.
Yeah.
Not as bad as they're going to do against Georgia Southern, but yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of
does
another
Ole
game,
Miss. Oh, what was that?
yeah,
Sorry.
go. No, well, let's go back to Ole Miss. Ask me what you're going to tell me about Ole Miss, and we can go on to the other game in the future I was thinking about.
Well, I was gonna see if they played Tennessee, but they don't because those teams play really
Okay.
similar, like just the high octane offenses. That would have been really cool to see,
Mhm.
but it doesn't look like that's in the cards. Um, I wanted to
You know the one.
go on.
Well, let's go to this. You know the one game, and I know we're good backtracking here, and this is in the future. Notre Dame
I was
always
about to go
has
there.
interesting game. Oh, you were Notre
Yeah,
Dame. We're not Notre Dame. We're about has interesting games, and this is further on down the line
yeah.
against Navy. Navy is not the best
Mm,
team in the world, okay?
right, but they
But
show up against Notre
somehow that
Dame.
they always show up. I've had a friend who was the starting quarterback for Navy. I played football with him. He was my quarterback out of high school. He went in to start. against Navy. His starting quarterback got hurt, and the first possession Navy it was I mean first possession against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was ranked number 6 in the country at the time, and he almost led that team to beat number
I
6
think I
Notre
remember
Dame.
that year.
Ooh,
Well, that was
yeah,
a
that was the
okay.
yeah
When
no
was
no
that?
that was like 2002.
Okay. I think I've
That was
seen like
way back.
I've seen like throwbacks of that game, like highlights of it.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend was the quarterback, and he went on to. By the way, he did really good. He was a one of the more better quarterbacks Navy's has had.
Yeah.
He went on his senior year. They made a bowl game. He went on to win the bowl game. He was named the MVP for that bowl game. So yeah, he turned out to be really good.
I feel
So
like though I do remember fairly recently that Navy beat Notre Dame when they shouldn't have. I
hmm
don't remember how long ago that was, but I do remember that Navy's also had some close losses to Notre Dame of almost beating them too. So
hmm
that's a good point, and congrats to your friend. That's pretty cool.
yeah, now
Um,
he's like a colonel in the Marines right now.
there he goes.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk Notre Dame real quick. Playoff picture. They don't get in with two losses. Are we gonna stick with that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So do they beat Louisville? Do they beat Georgia Tech? They beat Florida State. um, but here's the big one. Did they beat USC at the end of the year?
Mm. Mm.
I know, right?
USC, I love you. I really hope you did good. And I think you will do good. But I think as long as you play your cards right in the Big 12, I mean the Big 10, you're going to make the Big 12 championship. But I think Notre Dame has more to lose, so I think Notre Dame wins that one.
What if Notre Dame comes in with two losses and beats USC at the end?
Um, well, in that case, if USC is undefeated, and going into that game, I think if you pee an undefeated USC team, you're gonna have questions.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. So basically, Notre Dame's only way is they need to win out, or USC has to be really good and they lose one more before beating USC. That's kind of their
Mhm.
only
But
way in.
yeah, but Notre Dame has to be Louisville. I mean, no, they would have
Yeah,
to lose to Louisville
right,
to be
because
able
of
to
the
make
rank.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. For the finale pick prediction, Arkansas at Auburn.
I'm high on Arkansas. I really think Arkansas is going to be beating the spread.
Okay, so Auburn is favored by 3.5.
I think Arkansas wins by 7. I think you're going to be happy this week.
Yeah, I wish I was as optimistic as you. As a fan, I have a different perspective, but I'm not going to go over my fan perspective here. I'm going to go off of my I'm going to go off my brain here and go public with this prediction. Arkansas loses this game 28-31. They start up hot and they're ahead of Auburn, and Auburn comes back and beats them in a heartbreaker at the end of the game. And until Arkansas can close a football game in one of these in this type of environment, these type of games, I'm going to keep picking that. So, after
Mm,
Oklahoma State, I'm not picking them to hold any type of lead until they prove to me that they can. And their
yeah.
performance against UAB did not make me much more confident in them to go to Auburn and do well. So, uh, interesting the differences in our picks on this one. But if I've got to be honest with myself in a neutral perspective here, using my brain and not my heart, this is my prediction for Those hogs.
So we have a Pac-12 that we need to talk about. There's only two teams, but guess what we heard? We heard they slipped out and grabbed four teams from the Mountain West. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think Boise State's one of them. San Diego State's
Colorado
another
State.
one. Yeah, Fresno State, I think, was one of
Mm-hmm.
them. And now there's talk that they're trying to go after Memphis. Now
Mm-hmm.
that would be big. If you want to have another Power Five team, and you
Mm-hmm.
still have Washington State, and you have it's Washington State and Oregon
What
State,
about
right?
Oregon State? Oregon State's still in there, right? Washington State
Yep.
and Oregon State are in there right now, right? Yeah.
So that's six
Okay.
teams. That what do they need to be relevant? They need four more teams. If you had to pick four teams to be to get picked up and go into the Pac-12, can you tell me who and why? And
Pick
I'll give
four
you
team.
one. Pick four teams. I'll give you one. I'll start with one.
Okay.
I think Texas State. Texas State could be one. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I say that is because Texas State has done pretty well. It did pretty well last year. They made their first ever bowl game. They're in between Austin and San Antonio. They got a market between Austin and
Yeah.
San Antonio, so you could probably bring that in. Because Texas is known for football. And if you want to bring a team in from
Yeah.
Texas, I
Texas
think
State
that's
is
the
a
team.
they're growing. Yeah, they're gonna be a threat.
Yeah, and then and my second one, and you could pick the other two, would have to be UTSA. And UTSA is not that great this year, but you're gonna bring Texas State in. You gotta bring the Rose State rivalry, the I-35 rivalry in,
Mm.
and make that look like a Texas A&M rivalry. Even though it's not as big, you can build on that. You can have
Right.
something with that. So yeah, every conference needs that one big rivalry, and I think that could be it. So if you have two other teams that you want to choose from, who would it be?
The thing
I mean, you
is
got.
like, huh?
I mean, do you think Memphis?
Yeah, but Memphis is not on the Pacific.
It doesn't matter if you're in the Pacific. They're picking Texas. They're not in Texas State. They're not in the
It's a little
Pacific.
bit in
You're
that area.
if they have six teams and they need four more teams
Yeah,
and
I
they
like
want to
Memphis.
be
I didn't know
close.
Memphis was on the table for picking since they're already in talks or whatever. But yeah, Memphis would be perfect. Another one would be maybe like a Louisiana or a Alabama, like a UAB or
UAB.
South Alabama maybe. Um, one of those or one of those Louisianas like Louisiana Monroe. Um,
Hmm.
maybe that's kind of what my mind goes to. Maybe they. What about like a Wyoming?
Wyoming. They're known to do things, but I think you want to get because you have six teams that are going to be all close to each other. And you
Yeah.
want to get six teams that are going to be close to each other, and that way you can have a split between East
Well,
and
they're not
West.
really doing that. USC and UCLA changed that whole close together thing.
Hmm. But by picking those teams, do you see the Pac-12 being relevant again if they have the right teams?
I just see them as a slightly lesser Big 12.
Slightly less than Big 12? And do you think they have a run to be have like maybe one or two top 25 teams because of that?
Well, yeah, if there's somebody undefeated, they're going to be in the top 25.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about two of them. Two teams, because if you're relevant, you have two teams that are going to be at least in the top 25, and that can take a
Yeah.
chance to get
I mean,
because you got
Washington State and Oregon State, uh, they have potential if once they finish adding teams to that conference, Washington State and Oregon State, they have potential to kind of build. Um, if Texas State goes there and Memphis, they both also, I think they have a lot of promise as well to build on their
Mhm.
programs. So
You know
we'll
what?
just have to see.
Well, there is one wild card team that's not a part of a conference that's like has a history of having great teams,
Mm.
and we just talked about Notre Dame.
I was gonna say that, but then I remembered that they also have like a Big Ten contract.
They do, but everybody gets out of it. I thought it was
I
not
don't
big.
think they're
I
gonna
thought it
get
was.
out of the Big Ten contract, not to go
I,
to this up and coming Pac-12.
I thought it was the ACC that had a contract with.
Was it ACC or Big Ten? I don't remember.
But that's for basketball.
I know, but if they have any type of contract with one of those, I think they're sticking with it. I don't think they're going to go. But I was thinking the same. I mean, maybe anything's possible, but I was about to say Notre Dame, and then I remembered that. I couldn't remember if it was the Big Ten or ACC. But yeah, that's not for football. That's for other sports.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
my
think that they would have a different conference for football only. I could see the
I
whole
think
independent thing kind of makes sense, but I don't think they would be in a separate conference for football.
now realistically, I don't see them ever being at a conference because they like the deal they have right now. They
Yeah.
have that name brand deal that the Longhorns have when they were in the Big 12, the Longhorn
Yeah.
Network. They have that by going to a ACC, by going to no, actually this might get them into the Pac-12. By going to
Yeah.
ACC or the Big 10, they can't use that brand. But if they go somewhere like the rebuilding of the Pac-12, they actually have leverage to keep that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually do see them going in. Be it well,
I don't
it's
know.
a stretch, but I think they have a better chance of doing it.
I see what you're saying. I just don't think that the Pac-12 with those teams that we've listed is going to be enough to pull their interest. Now, if
Mhm.
this was like maybe the Big 12, I don't see. I don't think that even the Big 12 would peak it. And like, here's the thing: the Big 12 is there's a drop between the SEC, Big 10, the ACC, and Big 12. Like those teams or those conferences are not even close. It's two,
Mhm.
and then it's everybody else. And the ACC and the Big 12 are already way behind the Big 10 and the SEC. This is behind them. This Pac 12, this new Pac 12 is behind these two, the ACC and
Mhm.
the. So there was already a big drop off. I just don't see why Notre Dame would be interested in something that's so far behind.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask
So
you this one more question. Let me ask you
ask
this one more
away.
question. Do you see do you see the potential of Notre Dame eventually bringing football into a conference?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, ACC or Big Ten, it could happen. I don't think they would settle for less, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, I'm just gonna stick with that. I don't know why they would downgrade
Yeah.
whenever in their other
Well,
sports they're already in one of those, and I cannot remember. Let's just figure it out real quick. Uh,
Fighting Irish.
no,
Oh, by the way, I was looking at their school to get into their school. The average GPA is a 3.75 just to get accepted. That's crazy.
mm-hmm.
That's a transfer. That's being transferred in. But no.
ACC.
Yeah,
So it's
that's what I thought. ACC.
all but football. It's the ACC. So
Mhm.
you were right. I thought it was Big Ten, but
Yeah.
it's ACC. So
Yeah. Pick Tim would make sure they got in the whole way because they want to compete with the SEC. And I think that would have been a smarter move to have the Big Ten in there. I mean, no, Notre Dame in the Big Ten
yeah.
over some other schools like USC because they're further away.
Yeah. All right. Well, you ready to close this thing down, Derek?
Yep.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Well, thank you guys. We just want to let you know that we really appreciate if you got this far in the videos to please throw a like on our videos. comment, subscribe to our channel. We'd love to engage with you guys. We'd love to see comments about our hot takes. And please hit that notification bell. That lets you know whenever one of our videos comes back. And put a horns down in the comments for Derek. He really appreciates
No,
those.
no, no.
But anyway, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Derek, would you like to add anything?
I'm gonna say, welcome. We're coming for the Razorbacks. Oh, wait. I like to call them the piglets. So we're coming for the piglets. You know, Bevo made the dog from Georgia look like a wimp. We're gonna make a piglet look like a cookout. Yum 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 yum. I love
And
that pork ribs, baby.
just last time
Mm-hmm.
Texas went up to Fayetteville.
Hey, you know what? Yours wasn't there, and we
Uh-huh.
did have Arch Manny.
All right. With that being said, horns down. Thank you guys for watching.